And I'm going to invite Kim back up to sing a song that they wrote together, and based on a story that she can tell you about.
Thanks. If you've never heard Bob's songs or never heard a whole lot of them at one time before, now you have a sense of what a magnificent writer he was, and how facile, how he wrote the way that people talked, and how he could really get inside the head of a kid or anybody and then speak in their voice, and you would say, oh yes, that's exactly what kids think. That's exactly how they talk. And he had a wonderful way of naming the people in his songs so that they became very real. But it was a dangerous thing to tell Bob an idea for a song, because Bob was so prolific and so fast that the next morning he might call you up and leave that song on your answering machine, which is what happened with this. I had a friend who worked at Planned Parenthood, and she came home from work, and I happened to see her that day, and she said, "You will not believe what happened to me at work today." And I said, "Wow, that's amazing." And I saw Bob later, and I said, "You will not believe this story. A friend of mine who worked at Planned Parenthood told me today about what happened at work." And he said, "No," he said, "that's amazing." I said, "Yes, it should be a song." He said, "Yes, it should." And the next day it was. And I tweaked a little bit here and there, but basically it was, I told him the story, he wrote the song. And while so many of his songs are funny, this one isn't. So this is called Freedom to Choose. In a clinic on Main Street in Washingtonville, lost in thought by a window stood Mary McGill. When her eyes met the eyes of a woman outside, was it rain on her glasses or tears she had cried? Outside on the picket line, Rosemary Flynn felt the rain on her face and the anger within, as she stared at that face inside, gentle and warm, that seemed almost to beckon her in from the storm. And the two women found themselves staring a while, recognition, awareness, but never a smile. And there seemed to be some kind of truce in that stare, until Rosemary Flynn recalled why she was there. Then she held up her sign that said, "Thou shalt not kill," and she pointed directly at Mary McGill. And Mary McGill, before starting to turn, gave a nod to acknowledge Rosemary's concern. That day, Mary counseled a child named Michelle, who tried hard to seem calm in her personal hell. She had meant to show love, she had meant no one harm, but her mother felt anger and John felt alarm. But the new life inside was a life, it was real, with a brain and a heartbeat she wanted to feel. Oh, she wanted that child, she would love it so well, she would build it a heaven to make up for this hell. But she'd end the new life for her mother and John. "I'll do it," Michelle said, "for my mother and John." These words had an emptiness Mary saw through. "If you do it," said Mary, "please do it for you." Michelle only murmured the words, "I don't know," and she stood and she turned and she started to go, when Mary made one last request of Michelle with her parting words, "Take time to think this out well." That night, Michelle's mother stormed into the place, not hiding her anger, but hiding her face. "My daughter came here with a purpose," she said, not to have you put foolish ideas in her head. She's too young, she's a girl, and the father's a boy, and she thinks that a baby is some kind of toy. Your job was to teach her, to straighten her out, not confuse her and send her home riddled with doubt. My job, explained Mary, was not to confuse, but to make her aware of her freedom to choose. My job is to make sure the options are known. You are right, she is young, but her life is her own. Then Mary saw something in this woman's face and remembered the person, the time, and the place. This woman had labeled abortion a sin, the face on the picket line, Rosemary Flynn. People often accuse and are quick to condemn when the issue is safe or does not affect them. I don't envy the job facing Mary McGill. I don't know all the meanings of thou shalt not kill. It's a conflict more simply prevented than solved. But the choice must belong to the woman involved. And I think that the answers come not from above, but from us and our consciences, tempered with love.